and everything you know will be gone.
In Invincible Season 2, Mark Grayson faces impossible challenges that test his morality and commitment as a hero. From the dark consequences of his father's betrayal to Angstrom Levy's dangerous quest to manipulate multiverse knowledge, Mark struggles to reconcile his duties with his personal life. Welcome back to your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In this recap, we'll explore the intense battles, emotional breakdowns, and shocking twists that shape Mark's journey, as well as the complicated dynamics between him, his friends, and his family. Get ready for an action-packed season filled with betrayal, loss, and the weight of heroism.
And I won't let you destroy it!
What will you have after...
A lesson for your next life. The episode opens in an alternate universe where Mark and Omni-Man have conquered Earth, wiping out the last remnants of resistance, including Adam Eve and Rex Splode. Angstrom Levy, however, escapes through a portal. Back in the main universe, Mark struggles to move on from his father's betrayal, while Debbie spirals into grief. Meanwhile, Levy frees the Mauler twins from prison, forcing them to help with his plan to absorb the knowledge of his alternate selves using a massive machine. As Mark tries to prove himself as a hero, Cecil denies him a leadership role with the Guardians, instead appointing the Immortal as their new leader. Mark stumbles upon Levy's lab just as the Mauler twins activate the machine. In the ensuing battle, Levy's plan goes awry, causing an explosion that seemingly kills everyone inside. Mark survives but is left feeling like a murderer rather than a hero. In the mid-credits scene, one Mauler twin emerges from the wreckage and finds Levy, whose brain has grotesquely expanded due to the failed experiment. Now filled with fragmented memories from alternate realities, Levy mistakenly believes Mark is a genocidal villain and vows revenge, setting up his role as the season's primary antagonist.
There's too much power!
You'll kill us all!
In about 6 hours, I lose my virginity to a fish. Mark misses his graduation to fight Doc Seismic, while his friends celebrate without him. At Eve's treehouse, tension rises over Chicago's destruction. Meanwhile, astronauts discuss eliminating the Sequids on Mars, but one is revealed to be a disguised Martian. Eve unknowingly displaces workers by fixing a building, and Debbie struggles to connect with Mark, who is consumed by superhero duties. Mark investigates Darkwing sightings and clashes with Nightboy, whose dark portals nearly trap him. In a rare moment of anger, Mark threatens him, showing shades of Omni-Man's brutality. Debbie confronts Cecil about manipulating Mark, but she is shocked to see Donald alive, raising questions about cloning. Eve tries to help her struggling parents, but her father refuses. Mark and Amber's Vegas date is interrupted when he is summoned to stop an Atlantean attack. The Guardians battle the Lizard League, while Debbie has a breakdown, and Mark finally comforts her. The episode ends with Angstrom Levy meeting an alternate Mark, revealing his plan to gather knowledge from the multiverse to kill him. This missive, this machination. Debbie joins a support group for superhero spouses, but faces rejection when a member learns she was married to Nolan. Meanwhile, Mark, Amber, and William adjust to college life as the story shifts to Alan the Alien. We learn about his past, the Utopians' struggle against the Viltrumites, and his role in the Coalition of Planets. Alan informs the Coalition about Mark's potential as an ally against the Viltrumites, but he is later ambushed and brutally attacked by Viltrumites before being seemingly killed by Thetis, revealing his true allegiance. Back on Earth, the Guardians of the Globe face internal struggles, while Mark is approached by an alien from Thraxa seeking help. Ignoring Cecil's warnings, Mark travels to the planet, only to discover that his father, Omni-Man, is its ruler. The episode ends with the shocking reunion between Mark and Nolan, setting up major conflicts ahead.
Who are you?
Quiet as I, Seance Dog.
It's been a while. The episode begins with a flashback to Omni-Man's departure from Earth, revealing that he nearly committed suicide by launching himself into a black hole. However, he changed course to rescue a Thraxan ship and was welcomed as a hero on their planet Thraxa. In the present, Mark reunites with Nolan but struggles to forgive him. Nolan reveals that he has married a Thraxan named Andressa and has a son, which disgusts Mark. Nolan explains that Viltrumites consider crossbreeding with inferior species a crime, meaning the Thraxans face extermination. He pleads for Mark's help as a group of Viltrumites arrive to wipe out the planet. Meanwhile, on Earth, Debbie battles depression, nearly taking her own life. Donald, still struggling with his identity, finds a broken pair of glasses identical to his own. He later reviews security footage and sees his past self being killed by Omni-Man, leading him to question if he is truly human. Adam Eve grapples with the consequences of her heroism and faces further emotional distress after a battle with Kill Cannon leads to possible civilian casualties. The surviving Mauler clone creates a new clone, but ultimately kills him in a moment of frustration. Back on Thraxa, Nolan and Mark attempt to protect Andressa and her son while battling the Viltrumites. The fight is brutal, and although Nolan manages to kill 2 of them, he is severely injured when another Viltrumite crushes his spine. Mark, also wounded, wakes up to find General Craig, a high-ranking Viltrumite, standing over him. Craig informs Mark that Nolan will be executed and Mark must return to Earth to prepare humanity for submission to the Viltrumites, either by persuasion or force. The episode ends with a mid-credits scene where the Mauler clone kills his burned counterpart, and Mark is left facing an impossible choice: surrender to the Viltrumite Empire or fight against it with limited allies. This must come as a shock. After the brutal Viltrumite attack, Mark spends 2 months helping rebuild Thraxa before finally heading back to Earth with his little brother. Meanwhile, over at the GDA, Donald starts questioning his existence and confronts Cecil, who drops a bombshell. Donald's brain was saved and put into a robotic body. So yeah, he's technically not human anymore. Back on Earth, the Guardians get some bad news. A Martian ship is on its way, and it's carrying a Sequid invasion. That's when Shapesmith finally comes clean about his real identity and the Sequid threat. Cecil doesn't waste any time and calls in Mark and Adam Eve to help the Guardians stop the invasion. But things don't exactly go as planned. The team gets completely overwhelmed. At the same time, the remaining Guardians, Rex, Duplicate, and Shrinking Ray, take on the Lizard League, who have taken over a military base and are threatening to launch nukes. What should have been a routine mission turns into a bloodbath. Duplicate is seemingly killed, Shrinking Ray gets eaten alive by Komodo Dragon, and Rex, he loses a hand before getting shot in the head by King Lizard. And just when you think things couldn't get crazier, the post-credits scene delivers another twist. Alan the alien somehow survives despite Thetis cutting off his life support. Turns out Alan is now as strong as a Viltrumite, and Thetis, who's actually a rebel Viltrumite, wants him to recruit Mark to join the coalition in the fight against the Viltrum Empire. Yeah, things are really starting to heat up.
No.
Hostage of Levy Rex survives a gunshot and defeats King Lizard while he and Ray receive medical treatment for their injuries. The Guardians narrowly escape the Sequids and rescue the real Roos. Debbie decides to raise Mark's half-brother, naming him Oliver, but remains suspicious of Cecil, even accepting a nanny he hired for the child. Rick recovers from his experience as a Reaniman but struggles with trauma. Mark and Amber's relationship becomes strained as they realize the impact of his superhero life, while Eve's feelings for Mark resurface. Mark learns about his father Nolan's past failed sci-fi novels, which may reveal the Viltrumites' weaknesses. He shares this information with Alan, who discusses the Coalition's fight against the Viltrum Empire. Russ is attacked and repossessed by a Sequid. Nolan is imprisoned and interrogated by General Craig. Meanwhile, Angstrom Levy returns to his Earth. Mark and Amber attend a comic convention, but Mark leaves to assist Rex. Cecil puts the Immortal on leave, and Rudy returns as the Guardians' leader. Donald learns he has died multiple times, dealing with the trauma and preventing Rick from committing suicide. Mark is confronted by the Viltrumite Anissa, who tries to convince him to join the Viltrumite Empire. After an intense battle where Anissa saves a cruise ship from a kaiju, she fails to sway Mark, beats him, and spares his life. In the midst of this, the Viltrumites confront Alan, who pretends to be defeated and allows himself to be captured. Mark, having broken up with Amber, is then called by Angstrom Levy, who has taken Debbie and Oliver hostage in their home.
You dare interrupt your education?
I was never.
I thought you were stronger. In Invincible finale, Nolan Grayson escapes from prison, only to be confronted by Craig, who informs him that his execution is imminent. Meanwhile, Mark faces Angstrom, who holds Debbie and Oliver hostage. Angstrom tortures them while sending Mark through various multiverse dimensions, including a world with talking dinosaurs, a zombified universe, and even a version of Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus. As Mark travels through these realms, Angstrom reveals that in some universes, even Debbie sided with Mark and Nolan, fueling his hatred. Mark struggles with Angstrom's actions and his refusal to listen, but after witnessing his mother and brother's pain, Mark finally unleashes his rage and kills Angstrom. This brutal moment causes Mark to question his own morality as he reflects on crossing a line he once vowed not to. Meanwhile, Nolan is tortured by Craig before his execution, and he crosses paths with Alan, promising to escape together. Mark later encounters older versions of his allies, including Adam, Eve, and Robot, from a world where Mark has been missing for 20 years. Adam Eve encourages Mark to give her younger self closure, as she is deeply affected by his absence and still in love with him. After this, Mark reunites with Debbie, who helps him understand that he isn't like Nolan, despite the similarities in their actions. Mark continues grappling with his emotions and responsibilities, even as Duplicate is revealed to be alive and has returned to reunite with Immortal. The episode ends with Mark deciding to fully commit to his role as a superhero, determined to save lives and prevent unnecessary deaths. He has a heart-to-heart with Adam Eve, where she expresses that Mark doesn't deserve the burden of proving he isn't his father. Despite this, their interaction ends on an unresolved note, leaving Mark still unsure about his feelings for her.
You don't understand!
Our nerdy thoughts. Season 2 of Invincible is a roller coaster of emotions and high-stakes battles that push Mark to his breaking point. As he faces his darkest choices yet, the lines between hero and villain blur, leaving us questioning what truly defines a hero. With new allies, old enemies, and Mark's continued struggle to prove himself, the journey is far from over. What will Mark choose in the end? Stay tuned as we wait for more explosive twists in the next chapter of Invincible. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more recaps and deep dives into your favorite series.
Now what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.